Welcome back to the Gamer-Nerds Now Loading Podcast, folks. This is Dinx.
I'm Voyce.
And so far, it's the end of E3 2013, day one. Microsoft has officially unveiled the Xbox One. Sony has officially unveiled the PS4. Voyce, at this point, it is currently 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. Based on our predictions last week, did Microsoft actually complete what we thought it would actually set out to do?
Well, see, my predictions for Microsoft last week were that they were going to spend a lot of time trying to fix the errors of their ways.
They didn't?
They didn't.
At all.
I think you said that they actually said they're going to spend a lot of time to talk about games. And in that regard, they did. Now, last week, I said that they would talk mostly about things like Motorsports 5. I said I didn't want them to showcase a new Halo.
They didn't?
They didn't?
No, it could be the TV or something.
No.
TV show or something.
No, you and I both know that's Halo 5. So Microsoft unveiled a new Halo. Anyway, the conference began with a spectacular game.
Oh my god. When I was watching, I thought it was like Red Dead Revolver or something, and then you see Snake and I guess Ocelot. I thought, like, seriously, my eyes were like the visuals, the lighting from Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain or whatever it's called. Unbelievable. Just freaking unbelievable.
That's the thing though, Metal Gear is one of those games that has always kind of like transcended whatever console it's on. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 3 or 4, despite being a movie, was, you know, visually impressive.
I still have yet to be.
Exactly, but it was visually impressive. So anyway, after that, they dove into a game that actually took me by surprise, because I didn't even know about it, was Rise, Son of Rome.
So this actually was a confirmed Kinect title for Xbox 360, and then when they showcased it on the Xbox One stage at E3, confirmed that's an Xbox One exclusive title, no longer Kinect focused, and you know, from a visual perspective, it looked really good. I was very impressed by just the scope and everything. The gameplay kind of broke down into repetitive combat, so it looks like a cool exclusive title. I don't think it's a system seller. And you know, like you said, and like we had said last week in the predictions thing, that Microsoft has to focus on games, and honestly, they did today. Whether the games they showed and some of the other things they covered would be system sellers is one thing. There was a lot of really cool exclusives. We talked about 15 exclusive games from Microsoft last week, and I guess one of the bigger ones we saw earlier, which kind of changed the tone and is exclusive, was Dead Rising 3 from Capcom. So it looks like it almost was like a Call of Duty mixed in with open world. There was a lot of crazy shooting, and I don't know, I was interested and I wasn't. Like, what do you think about Dead Rising 3?
I personally think Dead Rising at this point, like, I think the first and second one, I liked the first one. There were issues with it. I didn't like the idea of being, you know, clocked in on time to go do certain things. Dead Rising 3 looks like it's moving away from that. It looked like it's going towards, it's supposed to be some sort of open world shooter.
Which could be fun, go crazy, you know, make weapons and drive around and stuff.
That's honestly, that's all I wanted from Dead Rising, was a game that did that. I didn't like the idea of being restricted by time. So Dead Rising for me looks good. But I do like the idea that Microsoft they're not giving up on the Xbox 360. They didn't really get into too much, I guess, games or anything like that, but they announced a smaller Xbox 360 now. It's been rumored or so, anyway, or I don't think they announced it at some point, but at least they unveiled it. What was the thing about Xbox Live Gold members now get 2 free games?
So I guess there's a huge jump start by Sony this time around, and obviously Microsoft's trying to play catch up. So a couple of things. Microsoft points are dead now. You actually pay money and you get money back, not some random point values. Xbox Live Gold members are going to have an equivalent of PS Plus free games, which is, I guess it's a good thing. I mean, we've been paying for the service for so long. Let's try to get something the competition has. So that's kind of cool, but it didn't really change much. There wasn't any significant change to the structure. It's your Xbox Live thing goes on from Xbox 360 straight to Xbox One. You know, no hassle, which is good. But at that point, they still hadn't really knocked it out of the park for me. And then I guess the coolest part was there was a section dedicated to indie games. People have said that Microsoft is making it difficult to publish, you know, indie games compared to other console platforms, which we'll cover later. So they had shown some cool stuff. One game which looked really awesome actually was I told you was the colored version of Limbo. It was like an indie game there.
Wasn't it Project Spark?
No, there's another one where, remember I showed you, it was a kid trying to find his brother.
Oh yeah, it was called Max: The Curse of the Brotherhood.
That looked really cool. And then there's this other like really artsy-fartsy game.
I don't know, D4, and then there was like Project Spark, which I thought was like Microsoft's like take on Little Big Planet 3 or something.
No, but there's another one. It was like it was like an overhead view. It was like a really weird perspective, and it was just like a really small character. Anyways, I was surprised to see they even had any time spent on what's it called, indie games, and then they went into the big AAA titles. So, what do you think of those?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, everyone's been talking about Rare's comeback. And then they showcased Killer Instinct. I think everybody was just like, oh.
When I saw that, I actually had tweeted Rare this morning saying, I tweeted them the theme music or the character select music from Killer Instinct 2 saying, make my day because it's the best song music ever. Make my day, show me Killer Instinct. I saw the KI logo and Voyce will attest to this. We were talking on chat at work, and my response was random characters for 5 minutes straight. I was just like, hitting the keyboard, you know. It looks completely different from Killer Instinct 2. It's not Rare making it. It's some smaller third-party studio, so I'm a little worried about that. But people have played it today, apparently. So it looks really cool. You know, obviously Rare sees a lot of benefit or a lot of potential in an old title like that. So thank you so much. I'm so happy to see it.
Wait, so Rare is not making it?
No, it's not a Rare studio game. It's not NetherRealm. The studio begins with an N or something. I forget what it's called, but they haven't made, it's nothing to do with Rare anymore. So
wow. It's
coming still. I just saw a rumor that it's download only and digital episodic. Seems kind of weird for a fighting game, but we'll see when we learn more about Killer Instinct for Xbox One later on this year.
Now, one thing you were saying, you were talking about, it was during the impressions you're saying that, not impression, even your reaction to Microsoft's Xbox One reveal earlier, was it March? Was it May or March?
March.
No.
That was in May. No,
was it
March.
May?
Yeah, March. No, May. May 21st.
It was a day.
Yeah, 19 yeah, two weeks ago, exactly.
It was in 1984. Anyway, you're saying that how, people that were surprised that Microsoft spent so much time talking about things that are not about necessary games should not have been surprised that E3 would have been all about games. And it's true but at the same time, I kind of wish Microsoft would have dove a little bit more into the policies and things like that. Yeah, they talked a little bit about.
But
Twitch
they had
TV
but see, they did that. They had that last week. They unveiled something on the Xbox1.com website, and there was a huge backlash.
Yeah, huge backlash.
Like really, like we read it, and so if you haven't, just to reiterate, it's you can basically give a used game once to a friend. It gotta be on your friends list for 30 days. The cool thing, Xbox Live now can be shared with your family. 10 members at the same time, access your entire library, but DRM, 24-hour check-in.
1 hour check-in if it's in a friend's console.
Oh, that So like, and I mean, there was such a negative backlash on it. I mean, I don't, like, can you really dedicate time to it
I know, but
on a stage like this?
I know it was too last second for them to try and find some sort of marketing ploy to alleviate from it, but like they just like pretended like it wasn't there, and that's like, Microsoft?
Yeah,
you can't pretend.
And like when we see the contrast from Sony later on, I mean, now they're gonna have to react or something. I just don't see them keeping this like draconian, policy in place when, I mean, me included, a lot of people will be very excited to get a PS4, Xbox One right now. I'm not too sure.
Well, listen, you and I both know that we'll get the Xbox One. We'll both get one.
By the way, it's actually available for pre-order. I pre-ordered the day one edition already. So one of the Gamer Nerds will have Xbox One day one. Hopefully, second Gamer Nerds will have it as
and
well.
I will bum off of it. So anyway, so before we get into the pricing and anything, Microsoft, the last thing they showcased was Remedy Games.
Not last. No. Not. They showed a lot of stuff, but okay.
Yeah, but the last thing they showed was Remedy Games Titanfall.
Okay, but hold on. We're skipping Quantum Break.
Oh yeah.
We're skipping Battlefield 4.
Okay.
And we're skipping apparently the first game that has no sound ever in Crimson Dragon. Like,
Crimson Dragon. That was super embarrassing though. Like
it looked good. It looked really like Panzer Dragon was a big game, and
the sound clips off, and it was kind of embarrassing though because you could hear the crowd's reaction for some reason.
I was like, I thought my headset had broken, whatever. So that looked kind of cool. And then Remedy showed,
Titanfall.
Not Remedy. I'm saying. No, that's Respawn. You're confusing Respawn for Remedy.
Oh my God, Remedy Games.
This is what I have to go through every day.
Yeah.
Voices understand studios. So they finally showed, or apparently showed, Quantum Break.
Yeah.
So from the looks of it, it's like there's two folks that can freeze time, and they can bring someone out of time to, some out of world scenario and save them from this. Apparently, you're saying it's like a TV game tied into a drama. I'm still not sure. It looked pretty. They said it was in-engine, but I don't really see the game perspective.
I think I'm with you on the fact that it does look pretty. I don't know what it plays like, and I'm confused still because they keep talking about it's a game and it ties into some sort of TV or something, and I don't know. Like they're not very clear on these things, and I find it's happening a lot with this new, I guess, next-gen console. Reveals is that you're seeing a lot of things pop up and they're not really fully explained. I get it because there's a lot of information to kind of process in a short amount of time. But I just, I don't know. I find a lot of these reveals were kind of confusing. Do you want to?
Okay. The only thing that wasn't confusing was Battlefield 4 running on Xbox One, 60 frames per second. I know the story is gonna be horrible. I don't care. That was the most beautiful, like, Call of Duty Ghosts. Sorry, started from scratch. Battlefield 4, dude, that scene where I was telling you the carrier breaks in half and there's like wind effects and there's planes breaking. Oh my god, and the sound crashed. It was really awkward.
What's with the sound crashing today? But the thing, 60 frames per second, and it's not just. That has been Call of Duty's main selling point is that it runs at 60 frames per second. So suddenly you have Battlefield, which is like in my opinion, and I know yours too, the visually, better game.
And then, multiplayer, another thing.
It's more immersive, and then suddenly that's running at 60 frames per second. So, yeah, Call of Duty is kind of not looking too great right now. And even the Halo that they
which
mentioned.
I thought it was Journey from the place. Like, it just looked like the Journey character.
I thought it was Destiny. No, at first when I saw like this machine type thing walking with this like shawl or whatever, I was like, isn't that Megatron from like Transformers 3 at the end? I was like, oh, the Transformers. I was like, oh, it's back to G.
Do you think that's a TV show, or is it? I mean, they said it's 343 Studio Games, but they
said it's running at 60 frames per second. It's a game. It's Halo 5. 343. Don't even pretend. It's Halo 5.
So they did exactly what you didn't want them to do.
But see, that's the problem though. See, that's the thing. When they showcase Halo, for me, it means that Microsoft didn't feel that what they were showcasing already was strong enough, and I think it was.
They didn't end with it though.
They didn't end with it.
It was just the teaser, and then they ended with finally, ex-Infinity Ward, Respawn Entertainment unveiling Titanfall. Wow, that looked impressive too.
Titanfall looked impressive, but you have to admit, and I know it's because it's behind the same peeps that initiated the Call of Duty series.
They created from ground. I mean,
but it feels like Call of Duty,
but better. With mechs.
With mechs. Like exactly. It's Call of Duty meets Lost Planets.
But better.
I
mean, they showed it's super fast gameplay. The mechs, the Titans themselves, can strafe and roll and stuff. And there's all it just seemed really fast. And basically, like I told you, it was Respawn Entertainment. Fuck you to Infinity Ward saying we can do it better than you. It looks great. Xbox One exclusive, Xbox 360 exclusive, and PC. Very impressive, and that's how they ended the conference. Like that was their game-ending conference.
Yeah.
But
it's a big but. They revealed something
huge. Now
the pricing.
So everyone who watched E3 2005, 2006 saw Sony unveil the PS3 price. The meme. It was $599 US. No one in the right mind would pay that much. And then Xbox One, or Microsoft stated that it's $499 US.
Yeah, see the thing. There was if I always forget the guy's name, the analyst that he predicted that it was going to be
Michael Pachter.
Yeah, he predicted.
He predicted that it would be I read. He said it'd be $399.
Yeah, $399 exactly. So it's $100 off. So yeah, $499. Like I don't know for a next gen console.
But okay, this is the thing. So Xbox One has the controller. You get the Kinect camera. Now you have no choice.
Yeah, you have no choice with the Skynet.
Skynet. It's advanced hardware, but we've seen what the PlayStation, specs are, and it's actually less powerful. So right now, Microsoft is in a very interesting place because I've pre-ordered the system already. A lot of people will. But when we look at what Sony did today, there's very, 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 very big, huge change of roles compared to last generation. So I think let's look at what Sony did and then have a summary, because when we talked about Sony and our E3 predictions last week, we said they've done all the hardware stuff, they've done all the fluff, the focus on the games. They have to, because Microsoft has such a disastrous conference, and they didn't start that way.
No, well, Sony started off by, Well, they talked at least
They shouted out PS3 and one sentence of the Vita.
At least they gave the PS Vita some sort of like hope.
Did you see any games for it? I didn't see.
Yeah, there was Batman. No,
No.
there was something for the PS Vita, right? I have it somewhere in my notes.
All I know is, they highlighted Last of Us, which we're gonna play
Last
this week.
of Us, yes.
You had the GTA 5 exclusive bundle, which looks great. And then I don't remember if they said the Vita's doing good, everyone's downloading digitally, but there was nothing like, where was the exclusive title? Where was the, I don't know. They shot out the PS3, and then they decided to go into what Microsoft was basically shot on for doing, and they focus on TV and movies. That was just, oh my god.
Yeah, but see,
I couldn't believe they were doing that.
Well, see, because Sony didn't really get into that kind of detail in their reveal, and Microsoft, they did in theirs. So Sony kind of felt this need to like, okay, let's just say that we can do what Microsoft is doing. So they talked about what was it, Video Unlimited and Sound Unlimited or something, Sony Pictures.
But see, that's
programming.
The thing. Why are we doing what Sony did? It was irrelevant. No, it was just.
It was pointless. Like, I didn't really care. I was bored. Honestly, the intro, I was bored.
Yeah, it was not a good start.
The PS3, I mean, it's cool that PS3 games are still coming out, and they showcased, like I said, The Last of Us. They showcased Beyond Two Souls, this new footage from it, and you were saying how was it Ellen Page is everywhere.
I mean, like, someone just told me that Ellen Page is playing the girl in Beyond Two Souls, but Ellie is not her. Like, Ellie's based on her, right? Anyways, I tweeted Ellen Page that she's in like 10 games this fall, but we'll play Last of Us.
What are you saying, Last of Us?
I don't know. We will play Beyond Two Souls, or Voice will, because I don't want to play that. But eventually, Sony, dropped the nonsense, and they finally showed PlayStation 4 games.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm gonna disagree. They showcased a game called The Order 1886.
Oh, disagree.
I will disagree.
Hold on. They start off with Sue Yoshida, who is like head of Sony Entertainment Worldwide or gaming studios, and they highlighted games that they showed during the first conference. So you saw.
Yeah, it was like a recap.
You saw new footage of Killzone Shadowfall. You saw new in-game footage of Infamous Second Son, which frankly looks freaking incredible. It won't be a launch title, but that looks great. You saw new footage of Drive Club, which will be a launch title, digital only. Looks amazing. If you guys have seen the GIFs going around the net, like, that game looks incredible. And they showed games. They finally showed some games.
And then they showed gimmicky stuff like, I don't know, the Dark Sorcerer or whatever the hell that was.
That was cool. That was cool.
What?
No, that visually looked amazing.
Like, what is it?
It's not a game. It's like a comedy and entertainment thing. But you have to admit, the visuals there look unbelievable.
At this point, I was falling asleep. And then they showed something by I don't know, whatever, Transistor 24. It's supposed to come out 2014.
There's a huge focus on indie games, and it was kind of similar. At that point, they had done what Microsoft had done. Like, they haven't really broken away. And then you had Square Enix come on stage.
No, before Square Enix, they had a new IP that was revealed called The Order 1886.
Oh, okay, the Santa Monica Studios exclusive.
That actually looked really good. I don't know what it is.
But see, that was it said it was rendered using in-game or in-game engine. It wasn't in-game footage.
No.
It looks pretty, but I mean, it looks like a co-op shooter, like modern day tech in like early 1900s.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is either, but like it looks good.
It's something different from God of War. So Sony, they followed our prediction.
It's different. So after all that stuff, and finally after talking about Diablo 3, because we all give a crap, they finally got into, for me, one of the major highlights anyway of the entire all the conferences put together. Square Enix actually surprised me when they.
Well, they didn't. I thought they're just like, it's a video. I'm like, okay, so they said please wait for us in May, and then they have another video. So they showed something, and I don't really care about Final Fantasy, but you must have been.
Yeah, well,
like, you're finally. They showed it.
They did two things at once. One, well, they actually did three things, but the first two things they did is that finally Final Fantasy Versus 13 exists. It's not dead. Apparently it's coming on PS4. I don't know, and it's being rebranded as Final Fantasy 15. So then it makes me question: is it still set in the same world as 13? Is it not? I don't know. But that was exciting, but not as exciting.
Hey, wait, hold on. What did you think of how it looked? I thought it looked like crazy. It looked almost like Devil May Cry-ish. I didn't see like an RPG type of game. My feed was kind of like fuzzy and stuff, so I couldn't really pick out stuff, but it looked visually like pretty crazy. They didn't specify that it's exclusive though.
No,
they said, so I don't know if it's coming to Xbox One or not, but that looked really good. But I am a newfound fan of this following series. apparently people have been, wanting to hear about this one title for ages.
Forever.
And finally.
Forever. Wait, first of all, listen, Square Enix, fuck you for. You gave us Kingdom Hearts 1, excited. Kingdom Hearts 2, then it was Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Kingdom Hearts something, I don't freaking care. Remix, 14 Square. No. Finally, when I saw Sora, I was like, please be Kingdom Hearts 3.
I thought it was a 1.5 HD remix.
I was gonna scream
because it looked like the beginning of the first game, right? And then they had like the claw marks, and then there was Kingdom Hearts 3. So finally coming out,
yes,
like 100 years later.
About time.
It's coming out.
Like, seriously, Kingdom Hearts managed to go through an entire generation of consoles without like appearing on. Like, there was no PS3 Kingdom Hearts game.
It's all 3DS.
We went from PS2 to PS4.
It was all PSP and stuff, so that looks hot. And then we went into more third-party studio stuff. So Ubisoft now. So they showed Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Yeah.
I have not finished Assassin's Creed 3. I don't plan to because I'm done with it. AC4 looked okay. It looked visually impressive. It looked like AC. Like, it just looked standard AC. And then something happened. So my stream was not very smooth. It was choppy. And there were points where I was wondering, where was my stream freezing? But the guy is still moving. And I felt really bad for him because AC4 crashed on stage. Not a good look for Ubisoft in front of millions of people. It just solidifies my stance that Assassin's Creed is a dead series. The Naval Warfare stuff looked good, but it was so powerful it broke the PS4.
The Assassin's Creed 4. First of all, anyway, all the stuff they've been showing before, I was excited about it. I'm still excited about it, but I don't know. After seeing the gameplay demo, it is very reminiscent of Assassin's Creed 3. So I don't know. I'm kind of losing a little steam in terms of my interest. But when it crashed, like the camera pans away, and I was like, this poor guy, just like, man.
I couldn't tell for a second, and then I saw the Twitter feed. I'm like, oh my god, his thing crashed. And I mean, I think if anything, they had a good recovery because they shoot him off stage, and then they showed Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs, yeah. Okay, so Watch Dogs. Listen,
it didn't crash, by the way, but it was choppy.
No, it didn't. Yeah, Watch Dogs was a little choppy too. But Watch Dogs, they showcased, I guess, new gameplay. They showcased, vehicular navigation and
very
control,
cool.
which is cool. Seeing yourself driving in a car and getting away in a speedboat.
But okay, see, look, let's go back to Watch Dogs for a second because you obviously forgot. I mean, the gameplay they showed, it's not just typical, open world. It has all the mechanics of Grand Theft Auto, but I like how they're actually using this whole, you have your phone to hack into everything, and you show this escort mission where you're helping a guy, navigate through a city area where all these enemies are attacking him and everything. It looked very visually impressive. Had some, bumps and hiccups, but I think Ubisoft has a good grasp on what's coming on next gen. And Watch Dogs at least. AC4, no thank you. Watch Dogs is a title I'm looking excited to.
No, listen, I think both games are going to be impressive. I think maybe I didn't seem as interested in both of them, not because they're not impressive games, but I think Ubisoft just has a way of just like over-showing you stuff throughout the course of the year. So by the time they showcase something, you're like, I've seen too much of it. So anyway, Ubisoft, they look great.
Whoa, wait, Voice, we forgot something. In your E3 predictions for PS4, you said Sony has to show the console. And lo and behold, Sony listened to Voice and they unveiled what I thought was the Xbox One in italics. You have to admit, the PS4 looks a lot like the Xbox One.
What's with this next gen, and why is everyone going like straight like squares or rectangles? Like they're sharp. I'm sure if these things fall on your foot, like it'll fucking like just like destroy.
But the other thing is, both the top parts of the systems have like dual. It's different colored textured surface. Like, I literally thought it was the same thing. Apparently, it's smaller than the Xbox One, but I was like, I thought it was a joke. Like Sony and Microsoft are collaborating. They have their own system. They look very similar, but that's another thing. So now you know what the console looks like. You know what the controller looks like. There's a PSI, which we're not sure if it's coming or not. What did you think next about Elder Scrolls Online? I thought that was just waste of time. Not interested in that at all.
I think pretty much the stuff that came after that was kind of like meh, whatever. But what really was like, was like when Sony put on their boxing gloves.
What was the knockout punch for Sony this E3?
Dude, man, they focused entirely on everyone's concerns with Xbox One. They just like everything that Xbox One is doing that you guys hate. We're not gonna do that.
Literally word for word, and Microsoft can't be surprised that they got called out. Like the first second he said, there's a video going around on the internet showing how you share games on PS4. It's the head of the Sony Worldwide Studios and that white guy. This is how you share games. He gives the guy the game disc. The guy has the disc in his hand. That's it. It's like a 10-second. You know. So when they said there's no DRM, there's no check-in, you own the game rights completely. There's no
connectivity.
There's no fee. Like, wow, that was shots fired. Like, I told Voyce before this podcast, it's the reverse Mass Effect 3 ending. 50 minutes was the best part of the whole conference, and then the dagger in the heart I found.
Dude, the price. Dude, the price was like, just like, the second they mentioned the price, I was just like, man, Microsoft, like, I felt bad. Microsoft, this PlayStation 3 is $399, so it's gonna cost the predicted price of the Xbox One, $100 cheaper, and it has none of these restrictions.
And it's more powerful. Now, okay, one thing that is going around the net, I don't know if it's big or not, but PlayStation Network members cannot play multiplayer online for free anymore. So I think everyone will have to go PlayStation Plus. It's only $5 a month. That is the rumor. I'm not confirming or whatnot, but that's what I'm seeing. So again, single player games are only available to non-paying PlayStation Network members, PlayStation Plus and multiplayer only. That said, it's still cheaper than Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's more powerful. It's games focused. There's none of this TV functionality. I've already pre-ordered my Xbox One. I don't think, I mean, 7 years ago when they unveiled PS3, it was $100 more than Xbox 360. It did very poorly out of the gate. It only picked up steam later on. I don't see Microsoft changing price-wise, but these policies, like, I don't know. Do you think EA will put more focus on Xbox One titles because they may get some of that used sales revenue? Is that even going to be utilized? Or, like, it's weird that there's completely different policies on both consoles.
Yeah.
Both are coming out this fall. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's a very strange thing. Honestly, it's a very weird time in gaming. It's exciting, but it's very weird. Because right now, honestly, Microsoft is positioning themselves, and you know how gamers are. Gamers do not forget.
No, and forgive.
Gamers do not, like, the Xbox 360 was a fantastic console. I love it to death. But, like, right now Microsoft is, like, in a chokehold and Sony just, like, laughing to the bank. Like, it's so funny how Sony just jabbed the fuck out of Microsoft. I felt bad. But with that being said, Sony did end their, I mean, yeah, they spoke about Gaikai and...
Did they really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they talked about Gaikai and they talked about how your PlayStation Plus membership is going to transfer over to PS4 and all that good stuff. So, on the cloud service and all good things. But then, like, I feel they kind of ended it kind of...
No, but wasn't it the reverse though?
They ended it with Destiny.
They didn't have the price?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't remember anymore. No, I think it was the price.
Yeah, no, Destiny was not impressive.
Well, Destiny was the last game they showed.
Like, they shouldn't have showed it, and not impressive at all.
But that's I don't know, like, it's funny because, like, I love Bungie, I love Halo, but Destiny, I was excited about it, but, like, from what I saw today, I don't know, like, it just looks kind of
And
typical.
it also almost broke the PS4. Like,
Yeah.
It was very choppy. It looked like, you know, MMO, FPS. It looked pretty at some points, but then when it was running, but when it was like stuttering and stuff, I had turned the stream off, wasn't impressed. And then they ended off with, you know...
Yeah, with the price.
By the way, it's $100 less than the competition. That is, yeah, I don't know. I don't see how Microsoft has to respond. They have to change something. The DRM stuff, like, why would you buy an Xbox One version of a multi-platform title if it supposedly will run better on PS4? The console is cheaper. Multiplayer is now paid on both systems. You have features in the PlayStation which probably appeal to more of a worldwide audience, whereas Xbox One features are for America with all this TV stuff. Like, I just can't believe that the PS4 has no DRM whatsoever, like just none. And Microsoft has this, like, gotta check in 24 hours. It's only trade once. It's unlock fee, and you have to. Crazy, just
like,
insane.
The thing is, like, I don't understand. Like, for Microsoft to come out with those kind of policies, they must have honestly believed deep down in themselves that Sony was going to come out with the same thing or something very similar.
Either Sony has not told us everything, or they have something similar, but it just, you know, I'm going to buy both consoles, but a lot of people are only going to buy PS4 because now it's cheaper.
Yep.
It's a games machine, and they have total freedom over it. Like, it's just, You know, I thought Sony started off really poorly.
It was terrible.
It picked up pretty good. Some hiccups with, you know, Assassin's Creed, what have you, and then the ending was just, you know, ultra combo, you know, perfect, you know, finish him, you know, flawless victory. This is exact reversal of E3 2006. Sony is on top right now. They're the king of the world. Gamers look to them as the savior in this retarded DRM nonsense.
It's just all Microsoft had to do was not talk.
Yeah, but if this policy is staying, then they need to explain it.
But the thing is, like, after the Xbox One reveal, because the Xbox One reveal didn't really like make you think, oh, there's gonna be DRM issues or anything like that. There was no, like, it wasn't in your mind.
They assumed you watched the webpage last week.
But saying that the Xbox One reveal didn't leave that trace of like, oh, will you support used games or anything like that in your mind. Like, people were asking the question, but they had no pre-configured notion, whatever, right? So they didn't have to say anything. They could have just waited until after this conference, until after E3, and then be like, okay, you know what? Sony's doing this, we're not gonna do that. But they spoke out loud, and now they're in a bad position. But okay, with that being said, which was the better conference?
Well, I mean, if you're a gamer, Sony, hands down. Like, I think Sony, it's gonna come out probably the same period, November. It's $100 left, it's gonna fly off the shelves. Right now, I think the launch titles for me look better on Sony. Like, I am excited for Drive Club. For me, it looks a bit more appealing than Forza Motorsport 5.
And your infamous second son.
Dude, that scene where he flies up and then he falls back with a smile on his face and blows up like that was incredible. I think more people will buy the PS4 right now. I mean, if you read the Microsoft Xbox One policies, it says in fine print that they can change. I really think that, like, the DRM stuff, the, you know, mandatory connect, you know, like that, something has to give there. There's just no way they can sustain that type of model for, you know, a long period, 7-8 years, when they're more expensive, they're less powerful, and the competition just shat on them, like literally pooped on that Matrix face on a worldwide stage. You know, when they announced that there's no DRM, did you hear the crowd?
Yeah.
Like, people were crying. Like, literally, like, everyone, like, you know, thank the Lord that Sony's not doing that. There's nothing like that in the Microsoft console. Nothing, you know.
I'm not gonna say I'm on the fence, but I think, like, they both had their strengths and both had their weaknesses. I think Microsoft, when it comes to the games or the amount of exclusive games or amount of games in general, I think they had a stronger showcase.
They had some great titles.
Yeah,
but
it was a stronger showcase.
But if no one wants to buy your system.
Yeah, I know. I think it was a more interesting conference. However, Sony's conference was lackluster in the beginning. There's only a handful of games that I was really, like, excited about.
Yeah.
So from a games perspective, Microsoft won. However, just you know, backfiring on the policies and the price point, Sony just destroyed them.
Like, Sony's conference just could have been the last 50 minutes.
Just that.
Just that.
They didn't show anything.
Because, like I said in the predictions, Microsoft shot themselves in the foot. You said they just kept talking. They had the Xbox One DRM policies reveal last week, which was disastrous. They didn't cover it today, so Sony just had to stroll back. Of course, they knew that spending 10 minutes on Sony's movie stuff was, you know, irrelevant, because they're gonna end with not exclusive trailer, not a Metal Gear Solid, you know, 5 exclusive gameplay trailer, not a Final Fantasy thing, saying we're cheaper, we're more open, you know, welcome to PlayStation. Like, it's just I think in this Nintendo Tomorrow, which, by the way, is the only console which is cheaper, has no DRM, a broken online system, but right now Sony's on top of the world, and Microsoft, like, they have to respond. They need to change stuff.
Honestly, with the way the conferences went today, I won't be surprised if Nintendo comes out of nowhere tomorrow left field and, like, blows me away. Like, because I'm like on the fence about Nintendo, but, like, with the way things went today, Nintendo's gonna come up mad strong tomorrow.
They could. I mean, again, they have the weakest system. There's the game, so, you know, all they have, like, and I know they won't because they keep screwing up. They just have to show games tomorrow, a price cut or something, you know, to draw the attention away from all this, you know, super high tech and, you know, DRM nonsense. Just say, you want to play games? Buy a Wii U. They haven't done that yet, and tomorrow morning we'll find out with the E3 Direct.
All right, guys. So that's pretty much our, I guess, impressions on the E3 conferences for both Sony and Microsoft. And
wait. So, question we have for you is, we know who won, and the world has agreed. Do you think Microsoft will have to change their policies, especially on used game restrictions, DRM, and maybe even the price?
Good question. Let us know in a comment below. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We'll see you next time on
The Gamer Nerds Now Loading Podcast.
Peace.
Yep.
Go to our channel.
Yeah, totally check out our channel.
I think they should subscribe also.
Oh my god, subscribe right away. What are you waiting for?
Probably a good idea, subscribe.
Subscribe ASAP. You're gonna miss out if you don't.
I just subscribed.
Oh my god, congratulations, you just subscribed.
I'm cool.